Alright, howdy folks, welcome back to WARNO. Today we are checking out their latest big update called MURAT, in which we have two new divisions, the West German 2nd Panzergrenadier, which is who I'm playing as today, and opposing us we have the new bloc faction, the 4th East German Motorized Schützen. Now the interesting thing is that besides West Germans and East Germans, there is a little bit of a teaser here. Under the recon and some other tabs, we have Belgian forces, we have Scorpion Scimitars, there's also some recon infantry, but I haven't selected them. We have some CV Sultans, as well as we have some CRV Strikers, all from the Belgians. Under the air tab, I don't think I've selected the Harriers, but we do have some Tornadoes, both air superiority fighters, and some Seed aircraft, so you can counter enemy radar. At some point in the future, I'll probably look at the East German 4th new motorized division, but today we're talking about the West Germans, though we're really talking about this update and why I think this one specifically deserves another video. And the reason is that besides the new divisions and, they've added ATGM and recoilless rifle infantry, and, that's cool, it's not bad. But the main thing is modding. And it's been a little while, the developers, so we're playing this in slow motion just so I can get my little talk out of the way. But the developers did talk about how they wanted to have modding as a big part of WARNO. Now before we jump into the modding thing, I just wanted to mention that all of the Fallschirmjäger units that are currently in WARNO, which it's only really the West Germans and the East Germans for now, have been given a special sort of bonus ability. Besides the fact that they're obviously, high quality infantry, they also have the ability now to spawn ahead of other units with the same sort of idea as where the recon units can spawn, so they can spawn on this sort of earlier line when you're deploying your troops. All of the Fallschirmjäger prefix units, so the Fallschirmjäger, the Fallschirmjäger Milan, I believe the East Germans have like 2 or 3 Fallschirmjäger units that they can deploy sort of ahead so they can get into a position early. And I think this is because they did talk, actually the main guy, although most people know him as Grand Strateger, that's his in-game name, the CEO of UGID, the head boss, he did talk about how WARNO was going to have paratroopers, actually deploying from planes, but I'm pretty sure they maybe walked that back just a little bit, so maybe this might be their stopgap way of having paratroopers be useful, because if anything, I feel like paratroopers will just get blasted out of the sky if they have to deploy at the same position as everyone else, and they can't really get ahead of the main force. So now, as you can see, we'd actually deploy our paratroopers ahead, which I think is kind of big. But yeah, I personally think with that sort of move they did, they tried to say, hey, we're not doing paratroopers, but you're getting paratroopers that can sort of pre-deploy. But there's a huge chance, I think, that we'll maybe see airdropped paratroopers in their campaign, whether this is the Army General campaign or the scripted missions. I'm still not really sure how those scripted missions are going to work. They haven't really said, let's reverse our Scorpion away from these Pioneers. Okay, they're already, did they just throw a grenade? Or a satchel charge? Because these guys don't have anti-tank. So I'm not sure what happened to the Scorpion just here, but anyway, so yeah, I would be surprised if we don't maybe see something interesting along the lines of that happen in the, the Army General campaigns or the scripted ones. It does seem like we're not getting any paratroopers, sadly, in like the full game, or I guess in the, PvP game modes. With that said, the modding. And I wanted to save this sort of for last as my talking point, because coming from Wargame, I played Airland Battle, I played Red Dragon, as many people probably here have as well. A big part of that, considering the game at this point is almost 8 years old, I want to say. I think Red Dragon released in 2013, so it's actually almost 10 years old. And the main thing is that people at a certain point, they get bored. They get bored of playing their favorite game. And what people start doing, you see this with Men of War Assault Squad 2, for example, which is a really good example in my opinion. People start modding their games, and people go kind of nuts. The issue with Red Dragon and with Airland Battle is that they couldn't change the models. So if you wanted to change this Mi-24D into, say, I don't know, a Ka-52, or, I don't know, like a UFO, just to name something out of the ordinary, You couldn't, because you could change the stats. You could give this, instead of the Yak B Gatling gun, you could give it, you know, space lasers. You can change the damage, change the penetration, you could change the range, you could make it fire nukes basically that do 50,000 damage. But the actual vehicle, the Mi-24D, the model in-game as you see it, would remain. And what's going to happen now is not only can you now change the models, you can change pretty much about everything you want, just like, oh, let's move this radar guy back. Oh, come on, Fliegerfaust, why are you missing? This is a little sad. You can change about everything. I have a whole write-up. I'll just name, I guess, the more interesting ones. So you can change the gameplay settings, the damage system, the behavior of the enemy AI. So I'm not really sure how that's going to work, but apparently this is the same system that they use that we'll get access to, which is kind of interesting. That means that they really trust, I guess, you or me or us, I should say, with these tools. I'm really annoyed my Fliegerfaust is just absolutely not... Okay, the strike needs to get into the bushes. Come back, get out of there. I don't know if this Fliegerfaust, he only has one round left. We do have a Gepard over here, but I didn't want to move it around too much. Okay, Fliegerfaust, you gotta be kidding me, man. I know these Fliegerfausts are horrible accurate at 35%, but that's just sad. It did mention you can change the gameplay settings, the damage system, the behavior of the AI, so I mean, you could probably tell them to be more aggressive or less aggressive. Wow, did you just get a double kill, or was that the Gepard here that got one of those two helicopters? Yeah, you can change the models of the units. And to me, coming from Red Dragon, where Ashen Shadows, for example, great mod, or the Annihilation mod, which I've been getting into, they say, oh, here's an AC-130, and it's, or even funnier to me, not even the AC-130 part, here is here's a drone. Like a Hellfire drone, right, that shoots missiles. And a Hellfire drone is just a really shitty South Korean airplane, you know, from the 1970s. Because it looks so shitty, they say, oh yeah, we can say it's a drone too, and people won't complain too much about it. And as funny as that is, it'll be cool now to see that they can actually change out the models, because they're giving you the exact tools that the developers have here in WARNO. And I think a big issue talking to some of the developers, not so much behind Ashen Shadows, but the developers behind the Annihilation mod, is they said that they actually never got access to those tools, because as far as I'm aware, there's a whole bunch of legal mumbo jumbo. Basically comes down to the fact that Eugen didn't actually own the tools, and they were using a different company's tools to make the models. Contract has expired, so we can basically never see, unless that company somehow makes their, you know, software available to the public, we'll really never be able to switch out the models in a Wargame game. So to see that here in WARNO, and to know that the developers are so on top of it, means that potentially we can see, maybe even, just going crazy here obviously because we have Steel Division 2, we could see a, I'm not sure who would want to do it, a World War II mod for WARNO. Or if someone wants to, they could make a modern mod, much like Annihilation, or like Ashen Shadows, where you're fighting with T-90s and the most modern Abrams. This napalm guy just gonna fly over. Don't I have a Gepard? Okay, is he strafing running? Oh, he just... Okay, I don't know what he was doing. That was pretty cool looking, though. So, obviously, you know, I don't think we'll see a World War II mod for this game anytime soon. I would be very surprised if we did. But a modern mod, again, like Annihilation, like Ashen Shadows, especially when people can really customize those campaigns, something to look forward to, honestly. I'm a big fan of how WARNO has been doing it. I did make a video early on where I was like, man, regiments versus WARNO, I'm not sure like who is winning, if you can even say that. But at the moment, I feel like WARNO is providing more and more sort of reasons for me to believe it's going to be awesome. They're shooting from all the way over here. You know what? I'm going to try this thing. We're going to send some Fallschirmjäger to go mess those guys up. We'll send a helicopter as well. I know I have a attack actually probably done the attack helicopter, but this works too. Okay, we have a lot of my friendlies on this far right side. I'm not sure why they're doing that. Like, they're on the far left and far right side. Just kind of funny to me because I don't really expect people to be sitting over there, but yeah, apparently they are. Let's see if we can counter their god dang artillery, because they're just pissing me off. Air contact. Okay, we want to get another tornado probably, because these are two MiG-29s. Also at the same time, those MiGs should be flying over like 3 Fliegerfausts, 2 Gepards. I'm hoping We got less lost to get part, actually. Okay, that's good. That's 1 down. Tornado versus MiG. 2 down. And, okay, he's going after my helicopter here. Tornado always flying over enemy territory. This is like a top-of-the-line jet, so I'm hoping he knocks up this Su-22. And let's get him out of there because it's another MiG. We're not getting him. All right. But to me, I really like to be up close and personal. The game really deserves, I think, to be looked at, especially Warno, how good it looks. It really deserves to be looked at a little closer up than, you know, from across the freaking map where you're just zoomed out as far as possible. Look at these Fallschirmjägers to hunt down these, Oh, this is... Why are you guys not moving? Oh, did he just kill him? Oh, he did. Oh, what the hell is this? Is this a freaking... There's a Strela. What's there Strela for right here? Why is there so many units in the trees? I was just trying to knock out some of their artillery. But what if, you know, people start porting stuff from Red Dragon and say, hey, here's the Dutch, or here's the Israelis? An interesting choice. I wonder if that's possible. It would be really cool to see. At the same time, I personally have a severe doubt it's possible, just because if I can go ahead, I knew how to do it, and I ported, say, you know, all the factions currently from Red Dragon over into Warno, why would the developers do that? Because then they can't really sell you a DLC anymore. And in the end, you know, they're trying to make money, I guess, after a sale of the game. So it's interesting to see. Maybe some porting can be done. Maybe it's just certain models. Interested to see. It'll depend on what smarter people than I will say about it. But in the end, modding is coming to Warno, whether you like it or not. And I mean, I don't know why I don't know why you wouldn't like it. And the main part that I think is the best I've even mentioned yet is the fact that it's coming through Steam Workshop. To get stuff off the workshop, to make mods more easily accessible, allow people to oh, we're gonna lose this game. I just realized that we've lost this game. I guess talking and playing is kind of hard, but I don't know how, because I thought we were doing okay. Oh, technically counts as a draw. Yeah, right. Anyway, having mods on the workshop is going to make it a lot more accessible, a lot easier. People can update their mods, and they don't have to put out, you know, a bunch of Discord announcements or Twitter posts or wherever you would find their mod information, because you just go to the workshop and it downloads the update for you whenever they put it up. So with that being said, just a little look at the future for Warno, looking at the new 2nd West German Panzergrenadier and the East German 4th Motorisierten Schützen units, as well as, of course, talking about the modding. Really excited. I think that this could really propel Warno to be a staple of Wargame, not the series, but of war games, as in the genre. Because modding in Warno, I think is going to bring this game at least into the next 5 years. Kind of like what Wargame has done, but, you know, without the modding. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to catch you in the next one.